action, customer use cases, demos, and more. So this is one of HP's exciting solutions, and as most of you know on the call, it's a big data analytics solution that helps IT use the insight hidden in many systems and silos to resolve root cause and failures faster and improve future operational performance. So by definition, that's the solution that we're going to talk about today. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to have some introductions in a moment, but essentially we're going to go through some slides of the product, some deltas of the new version that just came out, a few case studies, and as well as a demonstration and Q&A. So my name is Jim Copio, and I'm the moderator for this particular session. I'm a manager at Whitlock Infrastructure Solutions and happen to be the BSM SIG leader and a chapter leader in Charlotte, North Carolina. And next slide, please. Okay, and then one, for those who don't know, Vivid is the largest HP software user group in the world, with over 30,000 members and hundreds of countries. And there's plenty on the website. But let me introduce the two key speakers for today. The first one being Sancha Norris, and by the screen you can see she's a senior product marketing manager for operations analytics in the HP software business unit. So she'll be taking the earlier slides and kind of go through the product and solution. And then we have Nama Schwarzenblatt. She's a technical manager, operations analytics for HP software. Additionally, excuse me, I just dropped my headset. Additionally, Nama, she has a very strong background in research and development in the Universal CMDB database, extensive architectural background around the BSM portfolio, and architecture for Service Health Analyzer. So she has some pretty strong background leading into her current role. Next slide, please. Okay, a lot of housekeeping. So many of you have been on these calls before. There is a way for us to do some Q&A. So there's going to be a panel we're going to show on the next slide in a moment. And you basically type in your question and then hit send, and that'll be captured. And at the end of the session, we're going to cover all of the, well, as many as we can get to on the questions and give you answers from the panelists. And if we don't get to all the questions, which is possible, we will have them posted in about 2 to 3 days, along with the slides and the answers to the questions, and of course the link to get to the recording should you want to replay the session over again. So we have that Q&A box. This particular session is live. Again, it's being recorded. Next slide, please. So there's a picture of what you would see on the right-hand side. Typically, for most people, it's laid out pretty succinctly. Just type in your question and hit send. So this, the questions, please answer as many as you can, or ask as many as you can. We want to handle them all and make sure you don't leave this session with any question marks. So here's the base screen. I'm going to turn it over to Sancha Norris. She's going to take the first piece and ask your questions as we go. Sancha?
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, good evening, everybody, wherever you are in this world. Thank you for joining us. As Jim mentioned, I'm going to go through some use cases of operations analytics, instances where how we've seen our customers use our product. I'm going to then share with you what are some of our new features that we recently released, and then I'll turn it over to Nama to give you a demo of our product. So here we go. Here's just a quick introduction for those of you who don't know about operations analytics. It is really it's HP's big data analytics solution for IT operations. And the idea is really about using all of your data to help your organization achieve higher performance availability, greater efficiency, and also to provide your users a better experience. We do this with unique IP that was developed from HP Labs. They've been working with us closely, so we believe we have some unique capabilities others don't have. And in addition, for big data product, we're also using big data infrastructure, in this case, Vertical's database, which has been proven in the field to scale to petabytes, as proven by Facebook, one of their customers doing just that. So while we are I would say we have all the capabilities of an analytics solution, I want to share with you today what makes our product unique, and it's really our machine learning analytics. And this is key to two capabilities that our product has, and that's embedded in our predictive analytics and also our log and events analytics, and that is a way for us to use our algorithm to automatically do analysis. In our predictive analytics, we have a self-learning engine that is able to detect patterns, see where your data is going, but also account for seasonality. So depending on your business, if certain times of day or certain times every week, there are patterns that's indicative in your business. It'll know that and learn those patterns over time. Also calculate what is a normal baseline that is customary for your business. And we're also, with our predictive analytics, able to detect any anomalies that that is not normal for your business. And I'll go into that a little bit later. For our logging events analytics, I'll go into that in this next slide. And here again, we're using self-learning algorithm in which we're automatically going through all of your log messages, and our new capability to also analyze events, to go through all of those data in a matter of seconds, so that you don't have to do that manually. And how we do this is that we first have the ability to cluster all of this data based on commonalities in the messages or events. We have a way of identifying which groups of messages look similar, and this way this allows us to really hone in on analyzing the right data and not the noise. We also look at what's in those log messages, in terms of what's in the text. Depending on the text that's in the messages, we associate it with certain importance and relevance, and we account for that in our calculation. We also look at behaviors of those log messages over time, and is this cluster operating in normal pattern behavior, or does it look abnormal? So those who are abnormal, will have a higher relevance input into the relevance calculation. So if you look at the first three boxes, this is what's calculated by our machine algorithm. It's done automatically. You don't have to type in search queries. And another thing that we provide that we think is really unique is that you have the ability to use your subject matter experts to tune the algorithm. So when Operations Analytics show you results, you can tell if it's right on track or not on track, and over time it learns that to give you more accuracy over time. So today I'm going to give you 6 use cases, pretty high level, just to give you an idea of how our customers are using analytics. As you know, really the use cases are pretty much limitless, and we're pretty excited to discover new use cases as our customers use it in the field. And we'll be sharing that with you, as we get those. First one, this one I think is the most familiar to most of you, and perhaps most obvious, is troubleshooting. And this is a problem that I know many of you have. It's given and something that we all want to do better. This example came from order management system from HP actually, HPIT, where they had an outage for the order management and ordering system, and they didn't really know what the cause was. This is one of those situations where they gathered all their experts in a room, have a war room type situation to try and figure out. Everybody's bringing in their own data, and it actually it took them over 36 hours to really figure out that the cause of the problem was a change in a database configuration, and as a result, they built an order backlog of over 2 weeks. That took them over 2 weeks to clear. They did a test of this same case with operations analytics, and they were able to really find a root cause in 30 minutes. So a dramatic a decrease in time to find a root cause using just one, operations analytics expert, administrator, and as a result, really reduced any order backlog impact by over 99%. I wanted to share with you, how operations analytics is set up at HPIT. It's currently in production at over 50,000 nodes in both their private cloud and also traditional data centers, and they are, using. I know many of you are HP customers. Here, it shows that they are really using operations analytics as a way to bring in all the data from their HP tools, but also their custom third-party tools. For example, Microsoft Scrum, I know, is another tool that they bring into operations analytics. And this allows them to really have that 360 view of their operations and the ability to analyze across the different infrastructure stacks and applications. So second use case is what I'll call operational predictions. So this is a little bit different from your traditional business intelligence predictions, where you might be trying to predict what your next, Christmas orders might be. This is more along the lines of, how do you have anything impending in the next few weeks, which you might want to take care of before anything happens. So we call it operational predictions, and multiple ways to use this include using it as an early warning detection. So that, as I mentioned earlier, we automatically calculate a baseline, and if you exceed that, if your performance metric exceeds that, you can send an alert to tell you that, hey, here's something that doesn't look right, and you might want to take a look and take action. You can also, this is an example from a customer who's, using it to track more of their customer experience, and in this case, they're using operations analytics to look at customer response times on a specific IVR application for them to understand if their customers are getting through or not. We've also seen it in a DevOps situation where they're looking at the impact. They've set up operations analytics in their test environment, and they're looking at the impact of an application patch, what happens to the system utilization when they do that. And in this case, they saw an increase in memory utilization. So these are, there are many ways, predictive analytics, there are different ways to use those. And here are just 3 examples.
Okay, are we ready for the polling question at this point? Okay, we have 3 kind of survey polling questions. It's good to solicit this for many reasons. It's interesting to see how you fit in with the rest of your peers on this call, but certainly HP gets some good insight that's important moving forward. So the first one is, how often do you find the root cause of service outages or problems? And there's essentially 5 choices. So if the audience can actually pick one of them that makes sense, less than 25%, 25 to 50%, 51 to 75%, greater than 75%, or don't know. And we'll allow a couple seconds for people to make their choice, and we'll see how these answers go. Okay. I think that should probably be enough time. It looks like less than 25% is a 0%. 25 to 50 is the highest percent at 29%. 51 to 75 is 14%, and greater than 75 is 21%. 36% don't know. Any surprises there, Satya?
I think it's really interesting. I think it's great. You know what I think it was interesting to get a survey. Most of some of the customers I've spoken to, give me a number around 50%. And a lot of times in the process of finding root cause or trying to restore their system, that's their priority. So they actually sometimes don't have time to go look for the root cause because they're so busy. And sometimes they lose their data. So it's not always, it's definitely not always a given that they're able to find the root cause.
Awesome. Okay, we'll proceed with the slides.
Okay, so back to the use cases. Here's the third use case, which is that using IT data to gain additional business insight. And in this is an example from a global telecom company. And what they wanted to do was ensure that the business process that they've set for mobile phone activations was working properly, and that there were not any issues associated with that for their customers. So this is before operations analytics came into the picture. Their process was really trying to activate mobile activations automatically, as much automated process as possible through their IVR. And the IVR is able to capture customer identification, whether the activation request was successful or not, whether the response time what the response time was, whether there are any timeouts. And they're able to capture all this information so that with the end goal that the activation process is automated and with less calls and fewer calls going into the call center, which is a more expensive operational proposition for them. For them to, before operations analytics, this process to get an insight into it was done on a weekly basis, and it was actually taking them they were using manual scripts to write the reports and analysis. It was taking them 3 days of the week to generate these reports, which in addition to being time-consuming and difficult, it was also, too late after the fact that didn't allow them to, to really be able to be in a position to take action on the information that was coming in. So they decided to take all the log data from their IVR applications and their service bus that's checking all this data and put it into operations analytics. And in this way, they're able to see, hey, if a customer is spending too much time, trying to get through to the IVR application because they're not entering their ID properly, or the response time is taking too long, so they hang up. Whatever problem the customer is experiencing, they're able to see and address, almost in real time. And this allows them, the ability to see if their revenues are coming in, what the customer experience is, and if, too many calls are going to the call center, they're able to address that and minimize that cost. The fourth use case comes from another telecom company, actually. And this is an example where they were using a traditional BI system to try and do operational analysis. In this case, it was an Oracle Business Intelligence tool. And this system was, they were generating a lot of, they're trying to use the system to generate reports, to get better insights into, their over 600 applications, to see how it was doing. And they were generating these reports on a monthly basis. So it's definitely too late to really take action on. They had over 1,500 SLAs that they were trying to keep track and that they needed to report back to their business units. And all of this reporting, and management infrastructure was, for them, not working in a manner that was what they need. So they wanted to replace their, Oracle system with operations analytics so that they can pull the data in, all of the operational data in real time, and able to provide their operators that visibility into what's going on with their applications, response times, SLAs. And they're able to do this, with minimal effort and show visibility in near real time. Now, our fifth example is this is actually another HP example at our support desk, supporting our HP software. They heard of operations analytics, and they wanted to see, if this was a tool that could help them do their jobs better. And this particular support desk manages over 3 software product lines. They they manage over 150,000 cases a year. So it's a pretty big organization with a lot of responsibility, and they have a lot of organization processes that they wanted to fine tune and make better. So they've decided to do a test with operations analytics and see if it's something that will help them. And what they did was they pulled some of their use cases that they solved before, and they used they brought in operations analytics to see what the difference would be in terms of resolving those cases. So a typical process would be the support engineer gets assigned a case. Then he or she would upload the logs associated with this case that the customer sent them to do the analysis. They upload it into operations analytics to find a root cause. And as a result of this pilot that they did, they were able to reduce their mean time to repair by over 90%. And so they were really excited about that. So this is a screenshot of a log analytics message that they were using. So when they upload the data into operations analytics, they configured it so that it shows them the screen, which will automatically serve up of all the log messages that they uploaded, the most significant ones for them to examine. And then they can click on those buttons to drill down to exactly the log message to take action on. Here's a spreadsheet, if you will, of the cases that they examined. And if you'll see in the without operations analytics column, this was the amount of time and effort that they did that took the team to resolve the issues. And with operations analytics, they were able to use our log analytics capability to identify the root cause with 0 effort. The time that you see there includes the time that it took to upload the data. Our 6th use case comes from our customer, Western Union, and Western Union just actually gave a full presentation of their case study at Discover back in June. So I wanted to share that with you here. So Western Union is a user of Splunk, and they wanted to see that, how would operations analytics work alongside Splunk. And in this case, what they wanted to do was apply operations analytics to look at their most important applications. And what you see here is that Western Union is, they serve both partners and also internal users in these applications. Partners to Western Union means other banks and other infrastructures, other partners who help them move money worldwide. And so it's really important that they're able to complete their transactions as quickly as possible to make sure the money is, where they need to be. So all of these partners and internal users are accessing Western Union's important applications, and that information goes into what Western Union calls their gateway, where all the money transfer transactions go through. And this then all of this load goes across a load balancer and a message broker, and the log data from these two systems go into Splunk. And then operations analytics is taking all the log data from Splunk, in addition to any system monitoring tools that they have, or application monitoring that they have. System monitoring in this case is SiteScope, and application is Dynatrace. So the idea here is that, again, Western Union wanted to really do more with the log data that they have and use the self-learning machine capability that operations analytics has. In this case, what you'll see is that operations analytics was able to take about 14 million log messages that came from a Splunk database and identified the most significant and relevant messages for the operator to look at. And again, you can drill down and click through to the exact messages and find out that, in this case, they found a network connection error that they didn't even know about. So, this is the kind of analysis and insights that they wanted to derive from their data, so that they can be, resolve issues quicker and also be proactive in managing their infrastructure. This is a slide, again, from Western Union in terms of what they see in operations analytics and what they hope to achieve with it. They really wanted to, Tony Steiner, who is the director of IDLE at Western Union, he wanted to use data to really make a difference. He wanted to change his, operating infrastructure from being reactive to be more proactive, and to find root cause, a lot faster, and not only faster, but also more frequently, and not let, root cause problems come and go and not being able to identify and address it. His plans are really, they've just started with us, and his plan is to expand, the capabilities beyond the gateway that you saw earlier into, the rest of their infrastructure. And at the end of the day, what Western Union wanted to achieve was they wanted to be more innovative. They wanted to, it's really important for them to provide customer experience and make sure that their partners who are helping them move money across the world are well taken care of and getting the SLAs that they need. As you can imagine, Western Union, in a financial operation, they need to always be on, and they need to do all of this with greater efficiency. The whole do more with less. That's something that we're always striving for. So I think, Jim, that's the end of our use cases. And I think, was there another polling question?
Yeah, we kind of missed the slot on that, yes. I don't know if you can go backwards. Here we go. So this is our second of 3, and it's how do you use logs for performance, availability, troubleshooting? And there's 5 options. I see some people already submitted. I search for logs manually. I use regular expressions. I have log search tools that I do use, all of the above, or I don't use logs. So it looks like everybody actually put in their information. We have all of the above is 57%. That certainly is the highest percentage of the 5. And in second place is I search logs manually at 17%. Third place is I have log search tools that I use, and I use regular expressions, got a big 0, and don't use logs at 13%. Sancha, any surprises there? I would think that 57% is pretty common.
I think that's really good. We hear a lot of customers who, with the tools that they have, they are really just, it allows them to search through their logs, but it's still, to just search through the logs, you kind of have to know what you're searching for. The tool is going to speed up that searching process. You still have to tell it what to search for, and that was, I think that was the frustration with a lot of our customers. Sometimes you don't know what you're searching for.
And Sancha, we have one last poll that we're launching right now, so we'll give them a minute to answer.
Jim, would you like to read the question and the answer choices?
Sure. What percentage of events do you receive that are significant enough to take action? 5 choices, less than 10%, 10 to 30, 30 to 50, greater than 50. I am overwhelmed by event noise. So, a couple more seconds.
Okay.
Here's our results. Interesting. So what percentage of events do you receive that are significant enough to take action? We have 28% is first place at 10 to 30%. And then right in back of that is less than 10% at 25%. And then we got greater than 50% is 16% of the audience. And we have 6%, 30 to 50. I am overwhelmed by event noise. Very common, 25%. So, Sancha, any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty close to what we are seeing with our customers. With event management, I think there's a lot of great tools out there. So we hear from our customers, sometimes they get 2,000 or 3,000 events a day, and they've learned to over time to build processes and ways to deal with that, to figure that out. But I think what I want to introduce, actually, this is a good segue into what's new. We have a feature coming up where we apply the same machine learning algorithm that I've shown you with log analytics, apply it to events to serve up the relevant ones that for you to address. So we kind of help that problem there. So I think now I will take a few minutes to go into what's new, and then I'll turn it over to Nama to give you guys a demo that I know you're waiting for. So this is recent introductions in which we have what we're calling anomaly detection, where we are able to calculate the baseline of your normal metric performance, and where we can alert you. You can set up the alert to alert you of any anomalies that are detected when the performance exceeds what your normal baseline is. And the neat thing about this capability is that you can alert based on multiple metrics. You can say, you know, in this case, we're showing 3 metrics. So if anomalies are detected in all 3, it can, you know, send you an alert. Or if you just want to know, get alerted based on 1 metric, that you can do that as well. So it gives you the flexibility to, you know, based on your criteria, the ability to really combine, get, you know, a good picture of your infrastructure and get alerted when multiple things happen in your operations. Another feature is we really recently introduced is the ability to calculate statistical correlations really easily at your fingertips. And Nama is going to show you how easy this can be done. So we hear about, you know, everybody talks about correlation, you know, correlation all the time, and it's actually, you know, important to understand what correlation they're talking about. Sometimes it's visual correlation, so that you're looking at, you know, charts and visually seeing that, oh, okay, they're you know, looks like they're moving in sync or not, and they're kind of correlating it that way. Other tools, other people might mean that, you know, when this event happens and that event happens, then you know, then as a result, this next thing happens. So it's more situational, and they'll say that's correlation. In our case, what we're giving you is the actual statistical calculation, which will give you a comparison of, you know, a number, if you will, of the exact correlation that you get in analyzing the data of 2 particular metrics, so that you can see if, you know, if it's at 95.95, it's, you know, highly correlated, or if it's at a lesser number, you know, they're not really correlated, so maybe you don't care about that. So this is a feature that you can calculate and see really immediately, and it gives you additional insights into your data. Another capability is analyzing log data, and we have a way of, you know, if you see a log, problematic log, maybe that was the root cause of your issue that you just, you know, solved, you can really, you know, click on that and launch into the ability to track that log message over time and do analysis on that. Or you can take parameters within a log message and turn that into a metric, and then apply that, and then analyze that metric as any other, you know, metric data that you have in your system. So it's really the ability to, you know, take your unstructured data and turn it into, you know, visual analysis with a click of a button. This is the event analytics that I mentioned earlier. You know, when this is a way to really analyze all the events. If you're getting thousands of events a day, and you know, you want to know what's the most relevant events that I should start, you know, addressing. This is the ability to do that. Use our machine learning algorithm to help you pinpoint those relevant events that you should start addressing right away. And we have the ability to combine this data with with our log data, so that you can see, you know, for these events, what's relevant and what's the corresponding log that is maybe the problem with addressing those events. To summarize, let's go through this really quickly. With operations analytics, gives you the ability to analyze, you know, millions of data points in a matter of seconds. You can be more proactive, you know, with our predictive analytics and ability to understand your data to avoid more outages. Break the silos in your operations. We hear this a lot. This is a big frustration with our customers, is that, they have data here, data there, and it's, not all together to give them a complete picture. Have better alignment with your business partners and to be able to combine operations IT data with business data to show the complete picture and how the IT operations is really being a partner to the business and supporting them. And in lower TCO, operations analytics is priced based on node, not on data volume. So you're never penalized for having more data volume. Just the ability to price, give you the price predictability that I think our customers are looking for. With that, I will turn it over to Nama to show you the demo.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me fine.
We can.
Our demo for today starts with, thank you. So our demo for today starts with Sheila, which is the subject matter expert, and she's managing an application of the bank, the Advantage Banking. So this is our product that we manage, and she gets an email from Operations Analytics telling her that 3 transactions are performing abnormal. Okay, so this is based on abnormal-based event alert. So she drills down from the mail into Operations Analytics dashboard. So this is the dashboard of Operations Analytics. This is one dashboard that is showing her lots of KPIs for her banking application. She has here on the left side, she has the transaction response time, and she can see that 3 transactions are indeed performing not good. Okay, the transaction response time is not good. She has all kinds of metrics here. She has the application performance over time. Knowing her application, she knows that this is high values. Also, she can see here also network error rate and also non-IT data that she brings into Operations Analytics. This is finance data, finance metrics, like the interest rate, loan growth, etc. All kinds of finance metrics. Okay, so now she wants to try to find the root cause of this problem. Okay, in order to do that, she wants first of all to understand when this problem began. She wants to go to the beginning. In order to do that, she's using Operations Analytics time machine, which helps her indicate the time that the problem really started. So she ran the time machine on the, and she wants to get to the point that everything was green, right? Everything was green just before the problem started. And you can see that when going back in time, and you can see here the bar of the time, things improving. Okay, now we got to the point that everything was green. So probably this is the time the problem started, right? So now we can pause our time machine and we can go down in the same dashboard just to see more information, more panes showing more information on the same application. So here you can see the log analytics. And this is the log analytics focusing on hosts serving this application, this specific application. And also, using the time machine, now we are focused on the specific time range around the problem time. So we think this is probably around the problem time when the problem began. And the log analytics out of this, in this case, it's you can see the number out of 93,478 log messages. We got to the most significant 20 messages for this application, for this time range. Rolling over, she can see more information about the problem, and she can also click here in order to drill down to see the full message that really is the suspect of causing the problem, the most significant message that we think that the Operations Analytics think is the most significant one. Seeing the message, we can see here that this is an exception that was done during a commit of a transaction name, and we can understand exactly. We can see here on the message text that it was in the web logic. She knows this problem. She said, "Okay, this is the problem. I know this is usually caused by a misconfiguration of a web logic for high load and short timeout configuration." So she can fix it now, and things will be back to normal. But she wants to understand that this problem will not repeat itself. And if it does, she wants to be alerted on that. So she wants to track this log message from this moment on. She's now just clicking on track logs for this specific log message group. And from this moment, this message count over time will become a metric inside the system. She can then do baseline on top of that. She can do alerts on top of that, and she can be alerted as soon as it happens, as soon as it crosses a baseline. Okay, so now that it's being tracked, she wants to understand, okay, the problem is because of the web logic misconfiguration, but why did I had this high load, right? What caused this high load suddenly? Is this a recurring thing? Is this something that happened? So in order to understand that, she goes back into the dashboard. Okay, and now she looks at the finance metrics, and she looks at the performance over time. And she now wants to correlate them, to see if there is a correlation between the performance over time of the application and the financial metrics. So she drags and drops. Okay, just a second. Why did I lose focus here? Okay, so she drags and drops, okay, this metric into the financial metric pane, okay, and now she can just correlate them automatically. So she clicks and she correlates those metrics. Now there's a new sorry, I just moved to the I just wanted to press here to go down with the bar. Okay, so now she has here the correlation between all the financial metrics and the transaction response time. So she can see here that there's a very strong correlation between the loan growth and the transaction response time. Okay, she can also see that the number of the active users, okay, and the transaction response time is highly correlated. She also can use a zoom in logarithm using a logarithmic function in order to see it more clearly. In this case, there's no need for that, but it is possible also. So she can also look, and she can see also that there's also a high correlation, negative correlation between the interest rate and the transaction response time. What that means is when if the interest rate goes down, more users coming into the system, and so we have a worse transaction response time. And so this is probably the cause of this issue. Okay, so she can look at the logarithmic, again, view of that, and also she can look at the loan growth correlation with the transaction response time, seeing again when there's a high loan growth, the transaction response time is, again, suffering from that. There's high correlation to the transaction response time, yes. Okay. So now she wants to understand that this is not something that happens all the time. This is not a recurring issue. So for that, she wants to look at the seasonality and see a prediction of the performance over time into the future. So she's doing a prediction on that. And she can see that this is a one-time thing, okay? It shouldn't be repeating itself. The trend of the performance over time is flat. So this should be okay from that moment. She fixed the problem. It should be fine now. Now she just needs to make sure that if this problem happens again, she will not. She will be alerted on that as soon as it happens. So in order to do that, she's going to the dashboard, to a specific dashboard. Okay, she's going to a specific dashboard here. Okay, and she's going to the track logs. Remember, we tracked this log message, so now we are going to the track logs out of the box dashboard, and we can see the metric that was created on top of our log message. So we can see this metric over time, and now we want to create an alert on top of this metric. So in order to do that, we just create an alert, okay, on that. Okay, we can create this alert on this specific log message, or we can do it on multiple metrics if we want to. In this case, we will do it only on this exception. So we define this alert. Okay, of course, we need to change its priority. And now we can define when do we want this alert to occur. We are basing it on a abnormal. We can choose how narrow our sleeve of the baseline is, if it's very sensitive, if it's less sensitive, if we want to be alerted on this immediately, etc. So there's lots of parameters here. Okay, we give this an address. I want to mail it to myself in case the problem occurs. If we see this cluster again, I want to send a mail on that, and that's all. So from that moment, if this problem will happen again, I will know about it. So that's it for the demo.
Okay, great.
I will go back to the slides. Yes.
Okay. Well, at this point, before we do closing comments, we just want to grab some of these priority questions from the audience and get answers from any of the panelists, and certainly the ones we do not cover, we'll get them captured, Q's and A's. In 48 hours, they'll be sent out with the slides and the recording. So let me grab these questions quickly. There's a couple of really good ones. We have one. My understanding is that OMI has ops analytics embedded in it. How much of this presentation pertains to OMI 10?
Again, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's just from Courtney. It says my understanding is that OMI has ops analytics embedded in it.
Okay.
How much of this presentation pertains to OMI 10?
Okay, so OMI 10 does not have operations analytics embedded inside. You can integrate OMI, the My Workspace there, to contain also operations analytics, and you can wire them. You can do a wiring between them. When clicking on an event, you can see operations analytics focused on the event information, the event time range, and the CI the event was on, if it's a business CI or if it's a host. So, but it's not part of OMI 10. It's something that you can embed it, you can use it in the My Workspace. So it's not included in this presentation. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We have another question, actually from Courtney as well. If we have Splunk in-house, how does this augment or does it replace Splunk?
Okay. So we can use. Sorry, you want to answer that, Sandra? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can take that one. I can give an example of how Western Union is using it. I think the customer can you can do both. And it's really up to you in terms of how you are using Splunk today and what your specific needs are. With with Western Union, they initially are they recognize that operations analytics has additional capabilities that Splunk doesn't have in terms of our machine learning analytics with respect to logs and event analysis, to find the the relevant events or logs for you to look at, and also out-of-the-box predictive analytics. It's all part of everything. Kind of comes out of the box with operations analytics, and those are the things that they were excited about, and that's why they used Splunk as a data source into operations analytics. Going forward, as they expand, I think it's definitely, they're definitely looking at replacing Splunk as part of that process. So, I think it's really up to the customer in terms of how they want to configure their operations going forward.
Okay, thank you. We have another good question. It refers to the number 5 use case, so I'm not sure which one was that in the presentation, but here's the question. Ops Analytics finds root cause in use case number 5. Do related knowledge articles have to be created, ingested, so that Ops Analytics knows how to find relate solutions to log information?
So use case number 5 was the support desk use case, and if I am reading this question correctly, in the pilot test, they did not use other related articles that was associated with the case. It was just they strictly just uploaded the log data that the customer sent them and put them into Ops Analytics. And really in every case, they were able to, Ops Analytics was able to serve out the root cause, immediately without effort. So, yeah, so in this case, other related articles were not required.
Okay, cool. Let's try to grab 2 more questions and then do wrap-ups so we can really stay on the top of the hour. I know there's other meetings to be attended to. I have a question. Let me just find it again. How can we get a trial version of HP Ops Analytics? What's the options there?
We don't have a trial version at this point, but you can contact your account representative to do a POC, and we'd be happy to set that up with you. We can do a proof of concept with our what we call proof of concept in the cloud, so we can quickly get that going to show you how to get data in and start using our product.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's do one more. Does the alerting from Ops Analytics have the ability to integrate with current notification systems? There's some examples like Xmatters and Service Desk.
Yes, so the actions that you can do from the alerts in Operations Analytics are you can send a mail, you can use as an SNMP traps, or you can use scripts. So if you can do something with a script, you can do that, of course. And also there's a possible of sending OMI events. This is out of the box, of course, but with scripts you can do almost everything.
Okay, we're pretty close to the top of the hour, so let's just do some wrap-up. We have one announcement. Most of you may know about this next upcoming event for HP. It is in Boston. It's coming up quickly, August 10 through 13. It's the Big Data Conference, and I know that through the Vivid link, there is a discount, I think $395 for the conference pass, and it's pretty high value. So you may want to consider that. Here's the links on the slide. You can grab those quickly or get them afterwards. Next slide, please. Okay, and just a quick comment. You're going to see a link come across your desk later today, and it's just going to ask you for a very quick survey on how the session went for you, and we just appreciate your information. So if you have a chance to fill that out, and again, in a couple of days, you'll see the link for the recording, the Q&A, and the slides. So with that, we're going to kind of wrap up. Thanks for your attendance. We appreciate your time. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.